Welcome friends, welcome back to the kitchen. Today I've got the smoker fired up and we're going to do some ribs, so I thought I would make a pasta salad to go with that. So I've got a pot of salted water here and it is coming up to temperature so that I can boil the pasta. But first I'm going to make the dressing. So I'm going to start out with some olive oil, and the better flavored olive oil that you can get is great for this one because you will taste the oil. And then I'm going to put in some vinegar. And this is rice wine vinegar. I find that rice wine vinegar has a nice light flavor. It doesn't really intrude. It brings some acidity, but it's not, right in front of your face. Now, a vinaigrette dressing is usually 3 parts oil, and 1 part vinegar. And that is the classic amount. And you can play with that a little bit. And I know that a lot of people will put in water instead of all of the oil. Just to make it a little bit lighter, and you can do that if you want to. As long as you know where you're supposed to be, you can start to play with where you want to be in any ratio for recipes. So I'm going to put that into a beaker because I'm going to use a stick blender to bring this all together. I now have red pepper flakes, some basil, and some oregano. I'll put that in. Now, just before I came in, I went and picked a couple pieces of garlic from our garden. It hasn't grown a bulb down here at the end yet. So it's got a much lighter flavor than garlic would have later in the season. So I'm going to put that in as well. And I just gave it a rough chop just to make it a little bit easier for the stick blender to bring this together. So here we go. And that's it. Once it's emulsified, like it is right now, you've made a basic vinaigrette. And you can play with the flavors in there. Might need a little bit of salt and pepper if you want some salt and pepper, and you can put it on any salad you want. Okay, the water's boiling, so in goes the pasta. And you could use any shape you want. This just happens to be what I have on hand. And I want to cook this until it's al dente. Okay, next up is some veg. And the first thing I'm going to do is cut a little bit of red onion. And I'm going to slice long slices. And this is about 1/4 of an onion. Of course, all of this is to taste. It is your salad. If you see something that you want more of, put more in. If there's something that you don't want, leave it out. There's nothing critical in this type of recipe. You can do pretty much whatever you want. So, I'm going to cut up this onion. And I'm going to set that aside. Just before the pasta is done, I'm going to put that into the pot to cook for about a minute, and it'll just soften the flavor a little bit. Next up, some celery, and I'm going to cut that just in sizes big enough that they'll fit on a fork. And into the bowl. Okay, some radishes. And I'm going to do the same sort of thing with these. Fairly big slices. Then a pepper, any color you like. I just happen to have orange because that's what's been at the grocery store lately. So, take out the center and the seeds. And then the same sort of deal, just cut it into chunks. Okay, let's check the pasta. I think we're getting pretty close. Yeah, so I'm going to put the onion in, and it's just going to cook a little bit for about a minute or so with the pasta, and it'll just soften out that flavor. Okay, I think this is coming together pretty well. So I have some little tomatoes. You can get cherry tomatoes or grape tomatoes, or even just full-sized Roma tomatoes, and then cut them up into bite-sized pieces. You might cut them in half, you might cut them in quarters, whatever size works for you. So I'm going to cut these up and I'm going to put them on top pretty much last, but I want to have them ready to go. I've also got some black olives and I'm going to put those on as well. Now, normally I would buy black olives with the pits still in them. But I couldn't find them last time I went to the grocery store, so I bought these. Now the reason I buy them with the pits still in them is I think they maintain their texture better. So I'm going to pull out a few of these, and we're just going to give them a rough chop to put on top as well. And just a handful. These are things that you have to judge while you're cooking. And yeah. Still have great flavor. They're just a little bit mushy. Something about having the pit inside that just keeps them a little bit better. Okay, so rough chop, that's it. Don't have to do much. Let's check the pasta. Yep, I'm gonna say the pasta is done, so I'm gonna turn that off and we'll shake out as much water as we can. Okay, and into the bowl with the veg. There's always a couple. There's always a couple that stick. Okay. On top of that, I'm going to put, while the pasta is still hot, I'm going to put the vinaigrette. And we're going to mix that in. Okay, I'll put the olives in. Give it a stir, and now I'm going to stick this in the fridge for a couple hours, just to let the flavors all come together. And it is the kind of salad that you want to eat cold. So, into the fridge it goes, and just before serving is when I'll put the tomatoes on. See you back here for the tasting. Okay, we are ready for serving. So I'm going to take the tomatoes and spread them on top. This is all to the point where you should check the seasoning. If it needs a little bit more salt and pepper, you can add that in now, mix it in, make it really nice. I've got some bocconcini here, which are tiny little balls of fresh cheese. Oh, some of them are getting away. So spread those on top. They add a really nice flavor and texture difference. Maybe just a couple more. There we go. And lastly, I've got some parsley here, and I'm just going to use scissors and cut it on top. Hey, Jules.
Hey, Glenn. Hey, friends. Oh, we've already got forks. That's a pretty looking salad.
It is a pretty looking salad. I can make a pretty looking salad when I need to. So, the ribs are still smoking. They're not ready yet. I miscalculated the time, but we've got salad to tide us over. So, here we go. Pretty simple pasta salad.
That was for me. Okay, thank you.
Nothing terribly fancy. Completely open to interpretation. But it's that nice, cool, kind of refreshing, I'm hoping.
You're hoping. Trying to get a radish in there. There we go. It is a classic pasta salad.
So cool. There's different textures. You know, you've got the bright from the vinegar. The oil sort of complements that. A little bit of cheese. So you can really play with this. Play with the vegetables you put in. Maybe not put as many vegetables in, put in more vegetables. Any pasta that you want to use.
You can always put in more vegetables.
I mean, I've seen people make this with spaghetti. So if what you have is spaghetti, it works. It really does work. And it's something that can be made a day or two in advance, kept in the fridge, and then you bring it to a potluck or a barbecue or something. So I'm going to keep eating because probably going to be another hour before those ribs are ready. Thanks for stopping by. Stay safe. See you again soon.